Let's call the meeting to order. Have we had a chance to review the meeting of July 21st? Review the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second on the motion. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Have we had a chance to review the financials?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Moving on to old business. Black Expo funding request.
Old business or new business? Do you want to go ahead, Arvis? Wasn't sure if Rob was coming.
No, he's in, took his granddaughter to college.
Oh, okay.
What we're looking for is a $7,500 donation to what's called a business training initiative. Done it before EDI came out. Banks and other people were sponsoring it. And thus far, that funding has somewhat dried up, so Indiana Black Expo is coming in. Turn it off. Indiana Black Expo is taking up the mantle to do it. And what it is, it's like an 8-week program. If I may know here, for
I think there was an overview in the packet too.
yeah, for what exactly what happened last time that we did this.
You want to put your copy of it?
There's a copy in your packet right there.
Yes.
Yeah, no, Arvis has some data, some stats,
Yeah.
some numbers.
It's going to be a cohort with all small businesses, going up to 25 with a maximum of 35. I'm sure the class is manageable. The enrollment resource will include the database from the Chamber of Commerce, SBA office, SBDC office of Elkhart, the state of Indiana, the score group from the Chamber, the Latin American Chamber of Commerce, and the Elkhart chapter of Black Expo. We are in contract by the name of Gene Poole, who's a certified leadership trainer and who has been trained over 400 to small to medium-sized business owners in the state of Indiana between 23 and 25. He has been our lead person doing this program. We initially held it at the Elkhart Public Library from 5:30 to 7. We had some Saturday mornings. The curriculum consists of business fundamentals, values, value props, competitive advantage, customer segmentation, financial management, marketing, branding, and skills. We are requesting $7,500. The cohort's facilitated is $5,500, and the program setup and tracking is $2,500, and the cohort designed to manage is $7,500. So it comes to a total of $15,500. Our deliverables, we want to strengthen the Elkhart small business community and through education and peer support, and close gaps for small business and entrepreneurs, accessing them to the resources they would normally have, and creating a replicable and trackable model that could serve as a citywide template for small business and economic development. Our last cohort, we had 35 start, we had 25 finish. And we thought that was a great success. We want to base our empowerment cohort on the program overview and structure. Here are our expected program for the we want to give them as deliverables. We want to make sure they can come up with an action plan, business plan draft, some SOPs if they need them, financial toolkits, marketing and sales and strategy and development strategies, and enhanced business partnerships within the community overall. I'll be ready to take any questions you might have.
Do you
I'll
charge for this
No, it's
course?
completely free.
Completely
We do
free?
surveys and evaluation, assessing, we do baseline business status, pre and post assessments. And then, we have a metrics by which we measure those from start to finish. A comprehensive program summary provided to the city after we're done with designated contacts, including what we've done with participation data, attendance and engagement levels, participation success stories and recommendations for future cohorts on scalability. Anonymous and disclosed feedback results from participants and guest instructors to refine our future iterations of the program. We want to make sure our participants will gain understanding of customer modeling and business structure, AI prompt engineering skills for marketing and automation, financial literacy and forecasting and managing cash flow, digital marketing capabilities, including SEO, CRM, and lead generations, actionable frameworks for decision making and operations. And what I think one of the big things that Jean Poole is the lady, one of the ladies who does some of the training. And I guess the big thing now is AI. You know, that's the big new marketing tool that is if you know how to use it for small businesses, it's relatively cheap. But you have to know what you're doing. That's one of the things they want to work towards. And so basically be a member of a cohort, you need the EIN number. For some small businesses, just the social security number. Small business, for others, they have a state EIN number. So in helping them to understand that, you know, you just don't say I'm a small business and just start operating. There's some things you need to do to make sure what you're doing is legal. And you understand what you're doing. You understand, you know, how you want to grow your organization if you want to grow it. And we've done this. We did it in Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, you can see the Michiana area, Evansville. We've done it across the state. And in cities that we have 12 chapter cities. When we talked about Elkhart, I tried to explain it. We're like Michiana, you know, our cohort would be bigger. You just have to come from Elkhart, but you come from the Michiana area. So request is for $7,500, which goes, some of it goes toward the presenters, some of it, the thing is if you feed them, they will come. So make sure that, you know, they have pizza or something when they get their pop and water.
What day is this held on? A Saturday?
It could be held on Saturdays or it could be held for the week. We meet initially on Saturday. Then you gauge from everybody, okay, what's gonna work best to get everybody here, you know, and then we figure out dates and times and then go from there. We initially tried to set it up every Saturday, and then we found out, well, for some people, Saturday is their biggest day. So we've tried to refine that to make sure that we're accountable, accessible to all who want to be a part of it. And that's kind of it in a nutshell.
How many years have you been doing
This is
this?
the second year. It came out from the governor, I'll say more. Governor Holcomb, it's a long time, but.
Yes.
Governor Holcomb's office initially set it up
Okay,
and they provided funding for it. Then we got the new governor and anything with the word black, brown, diversity or inclusion got cut. So we had to modify that. And we called it the Black Business Initiative, but we made sure that anybody, any small business that wanted to come participated. And that's what we've done here to ensure that happens. Those words have become negative in the context of receiving funding from state or federal agencies. So we've had to refine some of our initiative that we promote, announce the program we run. But Governor Holcomb had a 3-year program. He was only in office 1 year before the election, and since then it has kind of been watered down. So we're scrambling to ensure that we can do it again with local partners along with Elkhart Black Expo as well. Try to provide the funding.
what's the name of the,
But the initiative, it was Black Business Training Initiative,
okay,
not just business training initiative.
okay.
You know, that takes the scare away from everybody.
Right.
You know, and so we've done that. And we have pretty much,
Or inclusion.
and we want to be inclusive, but we don't want to say it.
Right,
Yeah. So that's that's kind of where we are with the funding. We're set up to go. Initially, thought we could get it done by the end of the year, the end of November. We're not so much pressed for that time since the state is not as engaged as they were. We want to make sure folks start out to get the funding we need to complete.
Do they have the other 8,000, or is that lined up, or they still need to come up with the other 8?
No, yes, they have the other.
Oh.
They have the other.
Okay.
The state, Indiana Flag Expo of Indianapolis is providing that. So, yeah. And they asked us as a local what we could do to match that. Thus this was.
So just to add some context, I mean, for the last year plus, our team has been engaged, doing a lot of research in terms of our small business ecosystem and small business needs. We facilitated a series of focus groups and surveys and spent a lot of time identifying groups, and we're really trying to intentionally organize and get around the ecosystem and get the ecosystem building a toolkit. We created a resource guide that we're getting ready to launch. We're looking at a full toolkit. One of the primary things that came up was lack of access to training and education and information. Last year, this program happened. We sent one of our staff to participate in it to gauge how good it was, and similarly, the South Bend Elkhart Regional Partnership has they call theirs Hustle SBE, and it's a women minority cohort based multi-week training program. They brought it to Elkhart through the EDC last year. I think unfortunately they went at about the same time. So we did have a staff person go to that one and a staff person go to this one. And so what we're trying to do, had we been aware that there was a funding gap, we would have budgeted for it within our economic development budget to potentially be a partner, but we didn't find it valuable and useful. Because we didn't know they were gonna have a gap, we didn't budget for it. Which is kind of why, when talking with Arbus, that maybe there's an opportunity for this organization this year to fill this role, and then we can start budgeting some other funds or some other resources, for this in the future. What we'd also like to do is coordinate with the folks who do the hot community so that we start having maybe 2 programs happening offset from each other, so that whenever you enter into the space and you need that access to that training group, you're never more than a couple months away from the start of the next one, right? So I think that's what we'd like to do, is try to just coordinate to have providers in the community intentional providing these services on an ongoing basis, and how we can, as a community, as a city, we can help fund, partner with, support these organizations in doing those kinds of things. Additionally, we hear from not just the folks who come and want to rent space at Woodland Crossing, but when we're trying to help fill spaces downtown or do some of those kind of things, that what's your business plan? Have you done a business plan? Have you thought about it? And so this will help us, I think, craft a pipeline that can make businesses more bankable and make them more ready to take steps and enter into some of those spaces that we're trying to have vibrant, cool local businesses being a part of the business community. And we think that it really does fit the heart of what the original intent of the Enterprise Association was as well. So that's why we thought maybe it was a good fit here. We recognize this is a one-time grant. We want to be cognizant of that, as opposed to, but that we're only really asking for it this one time because we want to start budgeting for these things later. We thought this might be a good fit for this program, and it certainly does match a lot of what the city's trying to do in the small business space. So,
Any questions? Make a motion to approve. Second. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
More investment reductions.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda, I'm gonna let Drew kind of take the lead on this. I think if you'll remember, I think we briefly talked a little bit about us trying to understand and get a handle on the checks we continue to receive kind of sporadically here and there from businesses and when and how, and understanding, with the end of the zone itself at the end of the year, and moving into 2020, it ended last year. Yeah, moving into 2025, still receiving funds. What we have become aware of is that anybody so the loan remaining incentive that was out there was the property tax deduction credit, so which effectively operates like tax abatement inside the zone as a geographic area, and it's a tax abatement that doesn't require anyone's approval. To be honest with you, as we're going through this, the board doesn't have to approve anything. I think the business makes an improvement. They file the appropriate paperwork with the State Enterprise Association and with the county auditor's office, and then they're awarded their credits back on an annual basis. 100% of benefit, right? With a quarter of that supposed to be coming back to the EUEA as the operator of the zone. And while that program is now no longer in operation because of the expiration of the zone, we won't have any of these going forward. We do have a series of legacy businesses, including at least one that just started their credits last year for the first time, right? Just made their investment, started their credits last year for the first time. So we'll get 10 years out of that business. And so Drew prepared a quick little summary for you in the packet. I'm going to let Drew kind of walk through. I'm going to let Drew kind of give you a little bit of an update on where we're at. We're continuing to research it to be able to make sure that from a financial standpoint, where we're at in terms of who's paying, who's not paying. If we have some unpaid collections as a board, how do we want to take action towards that potential or not, and how diligent staff is and should be in managing and tracking that for the next 10 years, right? So go ahead, Drew.
Thank you, Mike. So I just want to, and Mike's going to highlight on this one, go through kind of some of the procedures that they follow. So companies submit a form, EZ2, very similar. That's their CF1. They submit EZ2 each year to apply for the deduction, and they send that to the auditor's office. The auditor's office certifies it, sends a confirmation letter with the deduction they're going to receive on next year's taxes. And like Mike was saying, this does not involve EUA board, city staff at all. This is auditor's office and the taxpayer. Then the next year, when they actually receive it on their tax bill, they submit EZBR, which is a savings summary. They submit that to us and also to the state association as well. And this should include a check payable to us for 25% of their savings. There's a local ordinance that was passed in 1999, Ordinance 447, that codifies that companies receiving incentives owe us 25% of their savings. So there's 6 companies currently, mainly personal property, and there's one that's expiring in 26, 27. The rest, going to 2030 or right up against 2030. They made investments, within the last few years and are eligible for that 10-year 100% tax rate. So it is a very good deal for the companies, and we should continue to receive funds from them.
So because they qualify for the last year of the program, we get to go 10 years.
Correct.
And so we continue to get money for 10 years.
Correct. So half of the companies that are currently active will continue to pay through 2034 and pay 2025. So we have a full 10 years left on half of the companies that we're currently receiving checks from. We'll continue to work to try to understand how much we think that's going to result in over the next few years. Drew's done some of that research. We just want to make sure we got it verified through the auditor's office and we have some correct information there.
And certainly, and then the auditor's office certifies sends them the deduction they're going to receive um, every year once they submit the easy two. So even the year prior, I think that that creates an avenue for us to accurately predict those things.
Yeah, any idea what that projection looks like?
I'm gonna hold you to you, Mike. Any ballparks there, buddy?
Drew, do you have an idea?
I could get deduction numbers, but exact tax savings. I could get the deduction numbers. I the spreadsheet in the auditor's office. I could. We could find that information for you guys.
We'll send a follow-up email that kind of summarizes that. We weren't ready to answer that today, so. But yeah, I think, just to kind of paint that picture, we're just, again, trying to get organized around SOPs on a lot of these things. And so this is one of those things that we needed the information. We're gonna have some SOPs around this. But we want to take lead from you guys in terms of if there are some companies who maybe in the past didn't pay the payment to us but collected their benefit, how aggressive do we want to be in going back and saying, hey, you never paid us, we want our, or do we just kind of let it go? Or if we've got companies who haven't necessarily and collected their credit or claimed their deduction from the auditor's office, do we want to, hey, you missed this one, make sure, we just give them a heads up to make sure we don't have people who forget, or so that, by the way, because you do that, you need to pay us our 25%. And, just kind of, again, get some SOPs around and figure out how we want to handle some of those kind of things. I'm not saying we have to or we don't have to go after businesses who haven't paid in the past or, those kind of things, because we haven't been, at least the last couple of years, been tracking it as closely. And again, I think some of that comes from not having SOPs when new folks like us came in and weren't aware that that was something that we're supposed to be doing. So, but yeah, so we'll get that around a little bit tighter. We'll get some information out to you guys, and hopefully we'll be in a position where we can have some SOPs or some recommendations on some of these other things the next time we get together, maybe 60 days from now. I do want to thank you guys. I know there was a decision made at the meeting to kind of space out the meetings a little more. This turned out to be right around 30 days after the last one. So appreciate your guys' willingness to come and be a part of this. I felt like some of that stuff was really important for us to try to make a timeline and help that. I felt like that was a really solid opportunity for the zone to make a difference in that space. We were exploring some other potential city funding avenues that would have been a little more complex than this. But once we start actually budgeting for it, it'll be easier for us next year's.
I don't think it's a bad idea to send out a kind of reminder letter, a nice letter saying, hey, if you didn't know about this, maybe you had oversight. Just, nothing hard ass.
Oh, so we'll keep that for later.
Yeah. Something more like, you might have forgot, hey, getting for this, something.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. So,
Is there anything under new business?
I kind of feel like both of these were maybe more new business than business because they were right.
Oh, good.
From an old business standpoint, I will say that internally the city's receivership team has not been super responsive in working with us to kind of get back together around a couple of things. So we're really still trying to push them on some stuff before we even really know what the city's formal position is going to be in that space. But we are also continuing to be active in trying to identify how we engage with the small business ecosystem broadly and how we build out additional tools for small businesses with a toolkit. So there may at some point be another opportunity where we may identify something that we feel might be a fit for EUAA that's in line with the original intent of the goals and businesses in the community in some way, likely through some kind of revolving loan fund where we might look for some matching funds with some other funds we're trying to put together to create a program that's in alignment in there, so that we are revolving it and not necessarily just getting it all out the door. But we're not giving up on receivership in any way. We want to continue to understand that, but we're being a little resistant, at least right now. So,
All right. There's nothing else. Motion to adjourn.
move.
Second moved.